Finally, the weekend is here after a long bye week. Texans finally going to play a game, and it's going to be a tough one. Let's hear from the enemies. Let's get into that. Let's get into this Odell Beckham Jr. thing. You knew this was going to happen. Should they or shouldn't they? Why should they? Why shouldn't they? We got a lot to get into. It is the football weekend. What a time to be alive.
Yeah. It's the Locker Room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Ayy. Locker Room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize. Every angle's what we really do. We the source. We the pulse of the city too. Landlocked. Got the game in the headlock. Localize every time. Can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top two and we not too. Plugged in daily digital.
Oh my gosh, it is a Locker Room, number one source for Texans digital content. I am Landry Locker. You can see me throughout the week, in the morning, at night, whether I'm here, whether I'm on the road. But I am just happy to be back in this chair, in the locker room. No more road work, and got a hell of a game on Sunday. It's a massive game, and it's going to be a tough game. And if the betting line tells you anything, I think it's going to be a close game. Texans right now favored by 3 points. That line has gone up. They're very rested. Miami Dolphins, they have some advantages, some offensive weapons. Now, those weapons aren't quite producing like many thought they would, but a lot of people thought they were just going to set the league on fire. They had a setback. Quarterback got hurt. Tua, he's back. He's easy to rattle, but when you don't rattle him, he gets it in those guys' hands. Now, the good news for the Texans is you got one of the best D-lines, one of the best edge duos in the league, and you know how to pressure the quarterback. That's the good news. Bad news, little thin in the secondary. And those intermediate passes, a lot of reason to have fear when it comes to those intermediate pass weapons. Seems like D'Amico Ryans has a healthy amount of fear for those intermediate passing weapons. And that is what this game is going to come down to. Mike McDaniel, D'Amico Ryans, they've known each other for a while, going back to when Mike McDaniel began his coaching career as one of Gary Kubiak's understudies. D'Amico Ryans was a player. Then McDaniel followed Kyle Shanahan around for a long time. He was in San Francisco when D'Amico began his coaching career. And now they meet this Sunday. NRG, Texans with an opportunity to clinch the division with a win and a Colts loss. We'll figure out how that goes down. But let's hear from Mike McDaniel, the man himself, man of many words. My goodness. And this is from Sideline Sarah. Sideline Sarah on the scene. She likes to localize it. And by the way, this video is brought to you by BetUS. It is going to be a prop week. I'm not loving the 3, but it is going to be a prop week. And we'll go to the BetUS site and see what our parlay is going to look like this week. You can get in the game as well. BetUS, promo code YouTube150, 150% bonus up to $2,000. BetUS, promo code YouTube150. Get in the game, inside the game. Let's hear from Mike McDaniel and what he thinks about this Texan squad.
Houston has one of the league's best pass rushes. Does Tua's quick delivery time help to ease your mind in that respect? And does it help to negate a little bit of the effectiveness of that pass rush?
I'm very, very confident in Tua's ability. I'm also a football coach that's directly observing very, very good pass rush. So you don't take that lightly. I think the biggest part is it's a collection of individuals on both sides of the ball that kind of determine QB pressure and sacks. What do I mean by that? Well, yes, Tua has to have a quick delivery. He has a quick delivery if there's someone that's running the appropriate route in the timing of the play. So that has to be in unison. The launch point and where we're blocking from and where he can make those decisions that has something to do with it. And like defensively, sacks come in bunches when coverage is on point. So there's a lot of stat sheets filled just around the league in general that the sacks go to the defensive end or the defensive tackle, and goes against the offensive line. But in reality, the quarterback didn't have anybody to throw to. So I think overall in this situation, I think it whatever the
high grade marijuana called Kush on the streets,
delivering the football, who's to say it's plus or minus the talents of the pass rush. I think overall they're very, very good at pass rushing. Tua is good at getting the ball out, and overall I think it's going to be more of a complexion of the unit or the entire group and how they're all, defensively, how are they defending, how are they covering with pass rush, offensively, how we are protecting, but how are we moving down the field, beating reroute,
Dude's baked out of his mind,
coverage, separating the timing of the play. Those things, I think it's what it's going to come down to. Less individuals, more of a collection of the group.
I don't know what the hell he just said, to be honest with you. I would love to pretend. I don't know what the hell he just said, quite honestly. Props to you, Mike McDaniel. I know he likes to hit that vape. Goodness gracious. I know he's California sober. But my goodness, I don't know what the hell he just said. Your guess is as good as mine. I don't know what the hell that was. Goodness gracious. Let's hear from Tua. Maybe Tua can make some sense of this. He's the one that's going to have to go against it. Let's hear what Tua says. Hopefully he's making a little more sense than his head coach. Goodness gracious. It is the locker room number one source for Texans digital content.
So when you look at this Texans defense, from the pass rush all the way up to their secondary, what stands out on tape?
I mean, they play really well, sound football. They get some depth in the back end. So they try to mitigate a lot of explosives, but you got to have your P's and Q's on point when you're dealing with a rush that they have. Very similar structure to the team that we just played, but they don't necessarily play the same way, if that makes sense.
Okay. So what do you remember from seeing them, those joint practices last year, and how much can you take from that set?
Yeah, you can take a good amount. That's their defense structurally. They do things different, with their fronts and their backers. But you can definitely take what they've done in our joint practices and try to implement that, into some of the plays that we have. But it's also another thing to where, it's different with that, I feel like, versus game planning. And so we're going to have to see what their plan is defensively, normal down and distances, and then third down.
Okay. Makes a little bit more sense than his head coach. So that's what we're here from Tua. We'll hear from a local guy as well that could be a thorn in the side of the Texans. But first, I want to get in this Odell Beckham Jr. thing. And I knew that this was going to make its way to Texans Twitter. But I want to ask the people, are you against or for the Texans looking into bringing in Odell Beckham Jr.? Now, the Dolphins have waived him. He's going to clear waivers. He's basically going to get to pick where he goes. A lot of teams don't need him. A lot of teams won't want him. Kansas City probably won't want him. Baltimore, they definitely won't want him. They just let him go. Buffalo probably won't want him. Chargers probably won't want him. Steelers probably won't want him. He wants to play on a contender. He might not have a squad. He might not have a destination. And the thing that I hear the most is he's washed. Okay. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying he should be your number 2 receiver. I don't think anyone in their right mind would say he's a number 2 receiver. If you bring in Odell Beckham Jr., he's 3 down. So he's basically in the same category as Woods, Mechie, Hutchinson. That's where Odell Beckham Jr. would fit. So the case against is obvious. The case against is obvious. And someone saying Tank Dell's fine. He doesn't impact Tank Dell. Tank Dell, I don't know if he's fine. I don't know if you've watched too many games this year. He hasn't been fine. he was fine last year, but he's not going to impact Tank Dell. You don't bring in Odell Beckham Jr. to impact Tank Dell. That's not where it is. But it's 3 down. And if you look at what the Texans have gotten 3 down, it hasn't been great. The other thing is you have Robert Woods, who you don't know how long Robert Woods is going to be able to stay on the field. Like, it kind of feels like Robert Woods, there's a tendency to get hurt. So there could be insurance there. But the case against Odell Beckham Jr. is really obvious. Like, and I think a lot of you are touching on it. He's washed. Yeah, he's not what he once was. He's definitely not what he once was. That's the reason that he's on the market. He's definitely not what he once was. I think we would all agree with that. You're not bringing him in to be a number 1 or 2. If he's going to be a number 1 or 2, you're screwed. But he's definitely not what he once was. You're correct. Maybe he messes up the rhythm in the locker room, some may say. I think he's kind of proven that that's a little bit of a myth. I mean, the Rams didn't say anything bad about him. I didn't hear anything really bad in Baltimore. I haven't heard anything bad in Miami. So I don't know that Odell Beckham Jr. is like some sort of head case. Now, when Cleveland traded a haul for him, that was a problem. But this would be a different situation. You're bringing him in to be the guy. D-Lime says, I don't think he can get any better separation than what we have right now. So you don't think he can get better separation than Mechie or Xavier Hutchinson? You don't think he can get better separation than Xavier Hutchinson? Okay. A Dairy Fool says, I take OBJ over our wide receiver 3s. I agree. But the case is clear. I mean, the case against is very clear. And I get what everyone's saying with it. It's an easy thing to push back on and say no to. You don't want to bring Odell Beckham Jr. in. 100% understand that. If that's not what you want to do. The case for why yes, though, and this is where it gets kind of interesting if you watch this team. He's been in this system. He's in Miami right now. It's the same exact offensive system. He was in the similar system in Los Angeles, so he has system familiarity. Your wide receivers 3 down are among the worst in the league. Whenever you have to depend on these guys, it's been a disaster. Whenever you've had to depend on Mechie and Hutchinson to be 2 down, it's been a disaster. So if something happens to Tank or something happens to Nico, it's been a disaster. And it probably could still be a disaster with Odell Beckham Jr. I'm not sitting here saying that he solves all problems. But the question you ask, you don't compare Odell Beckham Jr. and Tank Dell right now, because even with the disappointment, Tank Dell is the better player right now. I think we can all agree on that. But what you're asking is, do you think that Mechie, Hutchinson, Woods, they're that much better than Odell Beckham Jr., or do you think Odell Beckham Jr. could potentially make some plays? He wants to be on a contender. You're a contender. A lot of the other contenders have better wide receiver depth, and they would want no part of him. So maybe you're part of the destination. Learn the system is usually the thing that you hear. He's already been in the system. Same exact system. Slowick studied at the same place that Mike McDaniel did. It's the same offense. So you're not bringing in Odell Beckham Jr. for a lot of money. You're not bringing in Odell Beckham Jr. at the start of the season. You're not bringing Odell Beckham Jr. in to start. He knows that. You're bringing in Odell Beckham Jr. so that when you're in 3 wide receiver sets or 4 wide receiver sets, if Robert Woods isn't playing, you have Odell Beckham Jr. out there instead of Robert Woods. Instead of Xavier Hutchinson or John Mechie, you have Odell Beckham Jr. out there. I'm not against it. Because I think the wide receiver depth is a problem. Gavin swarming the soup.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Says, yo, Landry, first time catching you live. Just got back from an overseas deployment. Shout out to you, my friend. OBJ is better than what we have 3 down plus big game experience. That's another thing. He has big game experience. kind of brings some credibility into the locker room. Maybe he fires up some of the other guys to where they kind of elevate their game. You know, they all look up to him. I mean, it's not a crazy thing. There's been times where bringing in an Odell Beckham Jr. would be a crazy thing. I don't think we're in that situation right now. I don't think that's where we're at. So I've heard crazier ideas than bringing in Odell Beckham Jr. I've heard a lot crazier ideas. Not the craziest thing that I've heard. Not even close. So I'm not opposed to it. See, a lot of people are. Very polarizing player. Been a polarizing player for a long time. But I'm not opposed. Not opposed at all. And if CJ wanted to do it and the locker room was open to it, I'm down with it as well. Space City Ballers bring in Odell. It won't hurt. Yes, boys with CJ. Boom. Make it happen. And again, it's not impacting Tank. What's the worst thing that's going to happen with Tank? Is he going to perform the way he has the first 12 games of the season? Might actually help him. Big game experience. It's a short-term thing. I don't think it's the craziest idea at all. When was the last time you seen Odell play meaningful minutes? Last year? What do you mean? What is that? I'll put you in timeout for that, sir. That's basketball talk right there. He's a hop around guy right now, Odell. But it's not about tanking them. It's about 3 down. Do you like what you have 3 down? I don't love it. I just don't really love it. Not by a long shot. Not at all. So, yeah, sign me up for it. I'm in on the Odell Beckham Jr. thing. He's washed, no doubt. What is Xavier Hutchinson? If Odell Beckham Jr. is washed is a proportional thing, right? Like it's proportional to what you were at your best. Washed. Okay, he's washed. Odell Beckham Jr. is washed. Sure. He's definitely not what he once was. But if he's washed, what's Xavier Hutchinson? What's Robert Woods? What's John Mechie? What are you asking Odell Beckham Jr. to do? Put him on a snap limit, go out there and make a few plays. Someone's saying he's better than Tank right now. I don't know about all that, but I'm not even looking at Tank at this point when it comes to that. But that's just me. Hutch is 24 though. What the hell does that mean? What the hell does that matter this year? What the hell does that matter? He's 24, so what? Hutch is going to be on the roster next year or trying to make the roster next year. Odell Beckham Jr. will be gone. It's an end of season thing. We're not starting Madden Dynasty. We're in the middle of a playoff chase. Xavier Hutchinson can't go out there and make plays for you. Odell, I mean, maybe he can turn back the clock, make a few plays, make a few catches. Got experience, so we'll see. We'll see what it goes. It's something I'm kind of open to, for sure. Shout out to BetUS for sponsoring the segment. We're doing okay on BetUS. Let's check out what we got here on BetUS. I'm gonna pull it up. I'm staying away from this -3 like the plague. But we are at $3,267. We started out with $2,000 with the promo code YouTube 150. And we still have 300 in prop bets. 100 of that's going to be an L with Stephon Diggs. And then we have the CJ over passing TDs. That's going to be close. And then the Danielle Hunter sacks, which that's going to hit pretty soon. But let's take a look at the prop builder for this game and see what the props are for Texans. And we'll just put together a little parlay sponsored by BetUS. Promo code YouTube 150. If you want to get down on this, I think we've hit a couple of these. The one that hit $20 to win $500, and then another one, and then we were just slightly off thanks to the Dalton Schultz situation. So let's pull this up. BetUS. You go to the prop builder situation. We'll pull this right here. We're going to go to game props. So we have the point totals over 21.5 Miami Dolphin points. We're going to take that. I think they're going to be able to move the ball. I think the Texans are going to be able to move the rock too, to a certain point. The passing TDs, CJ Stroud, we're going to go over 1.5. We're going to go over 1.5 on Tua passing TDs. Then we're going to go to the receiving yards. Dalton Schultz is up to 30.5. That's pretty decent. Mechie's 16.7. We're going to take the over. Jonnu Smith, 45.5. What's up, Eric Murray? We're going to take the Tank Dell over 41.5. We're going to say that the bye week did him well, and Tank Dell got him 41.5. And then we're going to go to the sacks, and we're going to say that at even money that Daniil Hunter has over half a sack at even money. And we're also going to say that Will Anderson has half a sack at even money. So we're going to have a 7-thing parlay. We'll let it load, see how much money we can get on that. It's going to be a nice one here. So that's 7. We'll put on the Pele. 5 legs allowed. So we'll take the sacks out. We'll get the sacks out so we don't have to worry about defense. So we'll take the sacks out. We will see. You have a personal person for you there as well. We'll say no on that. Yes, we want to stop chatting. And we'll go 50 to win 650. They're limiting me to 8. That's how good of a bet that is. So we'll do 8 to win 104 right there. And we'll check back and see what we can get. So 8 to win 104. Man, I guess whenever you start winning the Piles, that's what they do. But we got the Miami over 21.5, Stroud and Tua with the touchdown pass, and then Jonnu and Tank over with the yardage. Promo code YouTube 150 if you want to get in. BetUS. I'm down with this Odell Beckham Jr. thing though. He's 32 with a career full of injuries. Who cares? What does that matter? You're signing it. Yeah, you're signing him for cheap to be a depth guy. If he doesn't play, then you just go back to what you got. That's all we got. But there's too many people, and I see Space City's kind of in the comments. He's going back and forth with guys, and I get it. But nobody in the world is saying that Odell Beckham Jr. is better than Nico, and no one in the world is saying he's better than Tank. And that's like everything that you're saying about Odell Beckham Jr., whether you're me in Space City who's on the side to bring him in or not, is really going to dispute what anyone says negative about Odell Beckham Jr. But on this team, with what they got, with how these guys perform, I just don't know how you can be opposed to Odell Beckham Jr. I just don't know how you can be just completely opposed to it. That doesn't really make sense to me. What's the chance Christian Harris plays? I don't know. I mean, I have no idea. Your guess is as good as mine. But I'm down with the Odell Beckham Jr. thing. What say you? Let's hear from a local guy. Sideline Sarah once again on the scene. Let's hear from good old Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle, local dude. Let's hear what he's got to say about this Texans defense. Take it away, Jalen.
What do you see in the Texans matchup?
Oh yeah, great team. Definitely get the ball hungry team. Their D line is really tied in to their back end. Yeah, man, it's gonna be a hard game. I think they like top 5 ranked defense. Get pressure on the quarterback. DB's playing great. Stingley, having a career year. Yeah, man, they're a good group.
What's it going to mean to go back to Houston?
It means a lot, man. Going back, got a lot of family, friends come to the game. So yeah, it's gonna be big.
How many tickets? There, right? You played there before?
We had a preseason game there last year.
Practice there for
a week, yeah.
How many ticket requests you get ballpark?
Whoa! If I told you, wouldn't even believe me.
You think 100?
Not 100, but it's gonna be definitely more than 100 people there that I know. Sure. That's always great.
How much do you think you'll reflect when you're in Houston? When you're back in your hometown, just childhood dream, I'm sure. Man.
Right, man. I remember my first game was at NRG. It used to be called Reliant Stadium.
Look at that. Look at
I remember
that.
going, watching the Texans play when I was a kid. So just playing in that stadium now, it's going to be a surreal moment.
All right, there you go. It's Jalen Waddle. Hell of a player, man. Hell of a player. Hell of a young man. Heard a lot of good things about him. Looking forward to seeing him play. Looking forward to seeing Tyreek Hill. I'm really looking forward to this game, if you can't tell. And I'm in on the prop bets. I think Miami's going to move the rock. I think the Texans are going to move the rock. But who knows? It should be interesting. And it was nice to hear from that young man. He's very easy to root for. Other big game of interest this weekend as we get ready and we head into the weekend and we get some effing rest. Gosh, I need some effing rest. Colts versus Broncos. We're going to have an opportunity around here for a division title. Texans win, Colts lose, division champs, AFC South champions. If that happens, Broncos are the favored team. Colts very rested. We'll see how Shane Steichen, we'll see how Anthony Richardson looks after the bye. He's responded well to being benched. We'll see how he responds. The Chiefs, we know that the Texans are going to face the Chiefs in 2 weeks. That line's actually 4. Texans are a 4-point underdog in Kansas City. Kansas City right now, the betting lines are not huge. They just know how to find ways to win. They just know how to either win or lose people money. But they are getting Hollywood Brown back this week. He's back on the practice field. So that speed that we talked about at the start of the season with Hollywood and X going to give it to you worthy could be on the field. And that is another addition. And by the way, Nuke, we know Nuke well around here. He's playing really, really well. Other news in the NFL, as week 14 has begun, the window for the 49ers, it might not be shut, but there's definitely going to have to be an adjustment to keep it open. They're going to have to call in a new handyman or something to keep that window open, because you have a situation where you have players quitting on Kyle Shanahan. You have owners calling out effort. You have cap situations that are crazy. You have Deebo Samuel saying, get me the effing ball, and then dropping the ball when he's effing open. That is a crazy situation. You go to 2 Super Bowls since 2019, from 2019 to 2023, couple conference titles in between that. Window could be shutting. And oh, by the way, they're going to have to make a decision. Brock Purdy, cute story. Whenever he's on that 7th round salary, now they're going to have to figure out how much of a piece of the pie do we want to give him. So DeMeco's old stopping grounds in a worst situation, in a really, really bad situation. Speaking of bad situations, was this the worst bye week possible? Was this the worst bye week possible for the Houston Texans? A little later on in the season, is this the worst one? When I looked at it, I thought, okay, this is good. But when I lived it, when I actually had to go to the facility, and you're kind of on a schedule when you're covering the squad, when you're on the digital beat, I found myself even kind of confused. And I don't have to worry about body maintenance. I don't have to worry about all this other crap that these players have to worry about. And even I was a little groggy. I'm not giving them an excuse. I'm just saying, when we talk about like the ideal bye week, I got to think it's like somewhere between 8 and 10 or something like that. This was a little bit too late. Now, the good news is, and I think this is where people are kind of tripping around here talking, is you have the advantage against the Dolphins because you're coming off of that bye week. And then against the Ravens, your bye week was recent, and they have to travel to you, and they're playing the same amount of games in the same amount of days as you. So I keep hearing, oh, this is tough. Ravens are doing the same effing thing on Christmas Day. Now, hopefully you have the division wrapped up, and you might not even have to worry about that. And you can ice guys up. But in 2 of the 3 games that we talk about where this is like the worst thing ever, they have the advantage. So we'll see. Does it set them up well for the playoffs? We don't know that yet, James. We don't know that yet. Now, maybe the rest was a problem and they do respond, but we do not know that yet. We don't know if it sets them up or not. I know you watch every damn snap. I know you're watching everything. So, do you trust this team to flip the switch? We'll see. It's going to be interesting. But there's been a lot going on. I'm just happy to be back in the effing studio. I'm happy to be back in Houston. I'm happy to be talking to you guys. It was an honor and a privilege to be able to host at the #1 radio station in the country, not just sports, #1 radio station in the country. When they ask you to host, you host. It's an honor and a privilege. I loved it. I enjoyed it. It was nice to get back on the mic. It's nice to do radio at a place that understands, appreciates radio, and knows what the deal is. So that was awesome. Man, I'm happy to be back. Did need a little bit of a break from D'Amico, though. I'm just kidding. Kind of. It is the Locker Room, #1 source for Texans digital content. Again, the props, YouTube 150 at BetUS if you want to get in the game. David says he hopes that CJ flips the switch. We all do. We all hope he flips the switch. He's capable. Like as much as I whine and complain, and we all whine and complain about what's going on with the Texans and man, what the hell's going on? And what is this team doing? And are they going to get it together and all that? He's capable. I mean, we saw him do it at Ohio State. We saw him do it there. So he's definitely capable. Is he going to do it? Who knows? And is it really up to him? His surrounding cast isn't great. Hadn't been great. Can Slowick? I called him Flowick. Goodness gracious. He's been all up.
Damn it, Bobby.
My bad. Shout out to God. It's nice to push that again.
Damn it, Bobby.
I push that twice. Can Bobby Slowick flip the switch? I don't know. His press conference was weird to me, man. I don't know about y'all. I felt like I was in a weird dream on that one. That one was strange. That one was really strange to me. The Bobby Slowick. I mean, he was acting like that Jags dub was just God's gift to, like they put out some sort of masterpiece by getting that dub. Y'all hear the way he was talking about that? Yeah, we really did what we know we're capable of doing. That's Houston Texans football right there. We've shown it in practice, and we finally started to show it in Jacksonville. Really? That was a masterpiece? I mean, there was levels of competence there. I didn't look at that as a damn masterpiece.
Damn it, Bobby.
At all. Not even a little bit. Masterpiece. The other thing that him and D'Amico keep saying that just hasn't been followed up is we got to lean on our strengths. We got to do what we can do, and we're good at certain things. I want to know which ones those are. What are y'all's strengths? What would you say the strengths of this football team are? Because it's very vague to say we got to lean on our strengths. Sure. I mean, I'm not disputing that, but what would you say those are, sir? What are we talking about with these strengths that you speak of? Is it running the ball? Do they think they're a good run team? Is that what it is? I don't know. Like, I just hope they flip the switch. I just hope they flip the switch. Slowick is delusional.
Damn it, Bobby.
I don't know if he's delusional. I think there's a weird vibe when it comes to them talking about offense. But yeah. Ass response talking about D'Amico, lean on our strengths. Yeah, what does that mean? And when I hear a defensive coach say that, and especially someone that kind of appears to be like big time defensive coach, like I just kind of get a little bit worried. Like, does that mean that you're going to try to run the ball a lot now? Is that where we're heading? That kind of scares me, not going to lie to you. Scares me just a little bit. Just a teeny tad. Don't love that. But we'll see how that goes. One more time.
Damn it, Bobby.
Yeah. You know. All good. Shout out to Bobby. What do we got here? Oh, I still got the Minnesota drop there.
Call like Minnesota. Call like Minnesota.
They're playing pretty well right now. Got to keep me out of Minnesota. I'm getting back on the Josh McCown train. I got to stop. Starting to think about him being the OC. That driving me a little nuts. I got to stop. I got to stop doing that. I got to stop talking like that. It's a little bit crazy. But they got a hell of a defense. Defense is real good. Defense is solid. This is a really good defense. This defense is elite. Thin at corner, though. Thin at corner. And that's why this Dolphins matchup is so scary, because that intermediate passing, all y'all have seen it. D'Amico's done a hell of a job. I'm giving him credit. D'Amico's done a hell of a job of masking it, even with Petrie in there. You don't want Petrie in coverage, and you can't completely hide someone when they're on the field 95% of the time. There's going to be, especially guys who use all this motion. Like Mike McDaniel's going to be moving dudes around, and he's not just going to be moving dudes around to move dudes around. He's moving dudes around to figure something out, to see what you're doing. And he's going to try to find Eric Murray in coverage. And he knows Jimmy Ward. So whatever Jimmy does well or not, Mike McDaniel's going to know. I don't know if Gerard's good at play calling. I really don't know. I don't even know. Is Gerard a good quarterback coach? I like Gerard. I like him a lot. I wouldn't bet against it. I don't know if Gerard's a good play caller. He would be the next. I mean, he would be the next guy in line. I wouldn't bet against him at anything. Dude can do everything. He can sing, make clothes. I don't think he's ever had a sip of alcohol in his life. Effing legend. Shout out to Gerard. But I don't know how much better he is. We'll see how this goes. We'll see. But Mike McDaniel, he knows this squad very, very well. Very, very well. And that is a scary, scary thought to think about. And it's not just Tyreek and Waddle. Jonnu Smith is a mofo this year. Achane in the flats, they got a squad. Texans receivers are to the point where we're arguing earlier about Odell Beckham Jr. Regardless of how you feel, Miami was like, what would we do this for? I didn't know why they did it when they did it. But Miami was like, we don't need that. That's basically what we're doing right now. This is the Texans when it comes to the wide receiver position and wide receiver production. Early in the season, we're driving around. Oh, damn, is that a couch on the curb? Hey, get out and look. There any holes in that? Damn, I don't know if that would be something that I would want to put in the living room, but man, that's a nice garage couch right there. Yeah, let's get it. Come on. Pick up, throw in. Got you a garage couch. That's what Odell Beckham Jr. is right now. He's a garage couch. Miami's just upgraded their couch game. So their inside couch went out to the garage. They got the garage couch out there. So that's where we're at. Watching the Texans make me drink. Hey, more power to you, my friend. Enjoy Sunday. It's going to be a fun one, man. We got a little rest this week when it comes to the college front. Army-Navy is tomorrow. It is the highest over-under in the history of the series. This Army-Navy. Highest over-under in the history of this series. How about that? That's insane. Sit back and enjoy that, though. Almost want to take the over just because everyone's going to be taking the under. Doesn't it feel like they're trying to trick you into it? I see all the betting people. You've got to take the under because And overs are just so much more fun to root for. It's like you're rooting for everyone to do good things. Just rooting for anyone to do good things. Any thoughts about the Cowboys? I mean, I was in Dallas this week. Not really. I mean, they're in kind of a no man's spot. They might be looking for a new coach. They might not. They're kind of limited. Like, they're not picking at the top of the barrel. It's not like the Texans coaching search of 2 years ago where you had D'Amico and you had the top. It's not as bad as the Texans' previous 2 coaching searches, but it's somewhere in between because there's a lot of variables that go into it. And they're committed to their quarterback. But they got some elite talent. They got some hurt guys. Shout out to Overshown, man. That sucks what happened to him. So we'll see how this goes. Trent says the Texans have no happy median with the offense and defense. I want to see a complete game from the Texans offense and defense. You're talking that complimentary football. You're talking about execute. You're going to D'Amico. We got to execute. It doesn't matter what they do. It's about what we do. We got to execute. What's the key to winning? Oh, we gotta execute. How do you execute? You do your job. We coach better, we play better. We gotta execute. Noah Brown and Fant both got hurt, but yeah, I always think it's funny because you don't know whether they would have gotten hurt here, you know. But yeah, Fant got hurt, and then Brown got hurt. Yeah, Fant was he did a really good job last year. Best game of this year was against the Patriots. No, man, you got to give it to the Bills. It was the Bills. I know they were banged up, but I mean, come on, you got to give it to the Bills. Bills was the better game for sure, right? I mean, I think we can agree on that. It was Bills. No doubt, Bills. Man, everybody wants Gary Kubiak back. Why do we want Kubiak back so much? And he's a friend of the show. We've had him on. I've had him on the podcast. I like Gary. Good guy. Good mentor. Maybe how about his son or something? I want Josh McCown. I want Josh McCown as the OC. I wanted Josh McCown as the HC. Don't remind some people of that. The McCown train. Alive and well. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Sincerely, thanks for riding with me this week. I know the production, the quality and stuff was not as good. Speaking of which, let's push this back a little bit. Yeah, the production was not as good, but hey, we got through it. We enjoyed it. I enjoyed y'all. Appreciate y'all for coming through. BetUS, promo code YouTube 150. The bonus. Get in the game. Playoffs are starting in college football, and we're finally going to get some games. We're finally getting back in mode of stuff. This break has been long. It's been a long week for me. Very busy. Appreciate y'all. Always remember when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together. All love. Appreciate y'all in the comments. Everything else. Post-game show right after the game. Join. We're going to have something special for you on SNL as well. If you haven't subscribed to the SNL channel, please do. I think we're about 1,500 deep. We started it last week. We've been doing the podcast all year. It's one of the top Texans podcasts that there is. The 2 top guys on the digital game, myself, Cody Stutes, S&L, Texans Talk. Get in on that channel. We're going to have something special for you this weekend. We're going to have the post-game show. And no matter what, we're all in this together. Appreciate y'all. Have a good effing weekend.
Daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days. Opinions to give. We got takeaways. If it's up, then it's up. We number one. You don't need to try your luck. Locker